Hello and welcome to the Wood Elf Army intro. This is the Lord of the Leaves, I guess you can call me. This is the Wood Elf Army in the 500-point escalation league we are doing here on the Hammered Brethren channel. Why play any other army? I would never, because the Wood Elves are kind of their own meta. I enjoy being able to build any kind of list I want, whether it be a hardcore stubborn list or some type of evasion list. I prefer to stay away from those mainstream lists because they're boring, if you know what I mean. Alright, so here's my 500-point list, starting with my Shadow Dancer General. These will all be named eventually, just for lore tributes and stuff like that. We have 10 Eternal Guard with Shields and a Banner, 5 Glade Guard with True Flight, and another 5 Glade Guard with True Flight, because I love the models and their little assassin-like look. And to follow those units up, we have 10 Wildwood Rangers, because when everybody's stuck up with my stubborn Eternal Guard, I'll be able to hit them with something that have more than Strength 3 Armor Piercing. I feel like this just gives me a little bit of an advantage, almost, to use them. So here's some rules specific to my army. So of course it's 500 points, but we're growing as an escalation league. There's no scouts because we feel like Wood Elves would easily be able to exploit that rule. Units can be taken in half of the minimum unit size, rounded up. As you can see with my Glade Guard, I took 2 units of 5 instead of 1 solid unit of 10. And the army is preferably fully painted. I put stars around this because you get very high advantages for being fully painted, just because, one, you get to play an opponent that cares about the hobby part and not just the hardcore gaming. The personal goal for my tournament is to forget the winning, but enjoy the units that are underused. So like I said, the Wildwood Rangers and the Eternal Guard, you rarely see those kits on the field in the more competent Wood Elf lists. I want to paint my army as I go, so I can really take advantage of not getting behind as I build up my Wood Elf army. And last but not least, enjoy Warhammer, because who knows what 9th edition brings, but I'm actually fairly excited to what it's going to bring me as a Wood Elf player. I love the game now, and I can't wait to see what Games Workshop does with it. So here's a picture of my army as a whole. You have my Wildwood Rangers and my Eternal Guard with my General, and then you see my 2 units of Glade Guard. The reason I took Glade Guard is to provide some type of shooting support, and if you take a Wood Elf army without shooting, you are either crazy, completely drunk, or hammered, or you're just trying to try a cheesy list, which is kind of what I'm doing, but I love Wood Elf shooting, and the ability to always hit on the 3s is something I plan to use a lot. Really gives me a really high advantage in that shooting phase. So here's a better picture of the Wood Elf Glade Guard. I based them off of the deep forest, and they all kind of blend into how my trees are going to be painted. The goal of these Glade Guard is purely to take out the things that run around my flank, because I feel like my Wildwood Rangers and my Eternal Guard provide a really good center, but I have no fast cavalry in my list just yet. When I upgrade to 750 points sooner in the Escalation League, I'm definitely going to put some Glade Riders or some Wild Riders, maybe even some Sisters for some magic, but it gives me some variation. Here are my Eternal Guard. So these models I absolutely love. They remind me of like all of the Lord of the Rings models that you'd see, and they give me actually a stubborn support. I'm actually really enjoying playing them, and not only that, but painting them. In my army, I feel like without them, I would have a very cheesy and almost easy to win against army. Not like this isn't easy enough. But without the Eternal Guard, I think stubborn is going to throw a lot of my opponents off, because if one of them survives, I'm set. I'm fine. And if one of them survives, then these guys can do their job. Their job is to come in and hit really hard in the flank or in the rear or whatever is open, just to provide a lot of strength support. I actually play tested these guys at a really high point value, almost 3,000 points. And a unit of 30 of them inside of a forest was actually quite damaging. I played it against a Vampire Counts player, and I played it against a Dark Elf player, and both times they proved their worth easily. And with a little bit of magic support, they're almost unstoppable. So here's my Shadow Dancer, really blurry picture of him, but I'm using this model purely because I think the one that is on Games Workshop website is a joke. Oh, it's so disappointing. It's like it's a ribbon dancer on Games Workshop telling me to buy it, and I say no because this one is 30 times cooler, and it makes me think of a Shadow Dancer more than that other one does. Yeah, I may have called it a ribbon dancer, but it's just disappointing. And then you see in the background a little bit of terrain that obviously isn't painted yet, and the rest of my army, because Wood Elves are amazing. There's a better picture of my Shadow Dancer General. This is the Wood Elf Lord with Great Weapon model, but I love it for a Shadow Dancer purpose. There's my Glade Guard in the second section, and my melee units in the back, looking pretty cool with their hoods. The goal of this army is to provide a not easy to destroy Wood Elf list, but also not play an evasion list, because evasion lists, let's admit it, are the most disturbing and boring games to play against, almost as bad as the Dwarven Castle. So there's about all the Wood Elf Army. Tell me what you think. I'd love if you were to comment below, give us a subscribe. All these battle reports are going to be coming up really frequently. Not only that, they're pretty simple to make, and 500-point games go really quick, so you could put it on chain play and boom, you're watching tons and tons of our armies just grow and grow and grow. So the total armies that are playing in this league, we have the Wood Elves, that's me, Dark Elves, Vampire Counts, High Elves, Lizardmen, Skaven, Tomb Kings, maybe some Undead Legions, and some Warriors of Chaos. And so those 9 armies, they're pretty deadly, but the ones I'm really scared of are the Dark Elves, the High Elves, and the Warriors of Chaos. Not because they're just more competent armies than the Wood Elves, but the Dark Elves, they can get an amazing hero with a really high armor save, really cheap points. The High Elves, both of these actually have always strikes first, which really makes it hard for the Wood Elves to take advantage of my glass cannon-ish look. And that provides me a problem because a lot of my units are exactly what I just said, glass cannons. And of course, Warriors of Chaos, because, well, they're Warriors of Chaos. And when the Warriors of Chaos player comes into a game store, you either pack up your stuff and go home, or you accept the challenge and get ready to play against a ton of more armor saves than you'll ever imagine. I'm actually fairly excited for this Stag guy, though, because he's playing Khorne, and that means no ward saves for him, and I should be able to do some damage. Anyways, the Wood Elf battle reports that are going to see, they're probably going to be fully painted and really appreciated. I hope you guys like them. Anyways, comment below. Really easy to talk to humans rather than just a screen. Makes me feel like I'm not insane. Enjoy the battle reports. They'll be coming on fairly frequently. And we hope you enjoy them because they're really fun to play, really fun to bat rep. Anyways, as we say here on the Hammered Brethren channel, this is the Lord of the Leaves signing out. Get hammered.